Let me acknowledge a few of the people in the room, other than our three leaders who will come to in a bit. From the North Country Chamber of Commerce, Shannon Wilkins, our chair, and Alexandra Berry, our vice chair. I believe we have three of our county legislators with us, Rick Potiker, Francis Perrier, and Dave Bezio. Janet McFetbridge, Mayor of the Village of Champlain. We have, I believe, two city councilors with us, Mike Kelly and Jamie Canales. And I believe we have two town board members with us, Barb Hebert and Chuck Kostick.
Dana is here. Dana Isabella's here.
And Dana Isabella. Sorry, we didn't have you on the list. I went through the list early this morning and tried to pick out the names, and that always happens. But thank you all for coming here and being with us here today. At this point, I'm going to turn the program over to our Vice President for Strategic Initiatives, Joel Wood, to introduce our three sponsors. Joel?
Thank you, Gary. So a couple of weeks ago at the State Legislative Forum with our state legislators, I mentioned this, and I think it's worth mentioning again, and Gary alluded to it. I think we're very, very lucky in this community to be able to have our elected officials gather in a single room to provide us all with updates on what they're doing and how they're working together. That's not always the case in a lot of other communities across the nation, so I think it's important to point out. Actually, Supervisor Cashman and Mayor Rosenquist are such good friends that we had to separate them so they wouldn't chat during the program. Or hold hands. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce a few folks up to the podium. These individuals and their businesses are the reason why we're able to all gather here today and enjoy the yummy breakfast that we're all eating. I'm going to start with a longtime sponsor and a longtime supporter of the state, of the city, county, and town, John Benson, Senior Vice President of Barton and LaJudas. John? Absolutely. Yeah.
Good morning. It's great to see everybody in person. I was just talking to Gary on the way in, and congratulations, Gary, getting everybody together. It's hard to believe that it was, February of 2020 since the last time we did this. And I don't know about everybody in the room here, but V&L's been coming here for a long time. I have Bryce and Jeremy with me from Barton and LaJudas, and it just doesn't seem like the beginning of a year without meeting in person here at the North Country Chamber. So I'd like to welcome everybody on behalf of Barton and LaJudas and the Chamber. We're excited to be back. I think there's a lot of great things ahead for the North Country. It's an exciting time for infrastructure. That's one of the main practice areas that Barton and LaJudas works on. We've got tremendous leadership here in the room. We've got great things going on. I know I was talking with the town supervisor earlier, very busy. We've got a fantastic new mayor. We're working with the city on some great initiatives. The county is I don't think the county's been in a better position than it's ever been right now. Chairman Henry's here. He's going to give us an update. I'm excited to hear that. I'd be remiss without mentioning the great administrator from Clinton County, Mike Zerlo, who I always enjoy seeing when I'm here. And there's just fabulous things going on. We're really looking forward and excited to do it. One of the biggest challenges, though, everybody asks me what we're going to face going forward, and that's actually staffing. So we're looking for people. If you want to visit our website, if you know young people that are looking for a job, we've got great jobs. We've got a lot of work, and we're looking forward to we'll talk after, Mayor. But, again, please reach out to me if you need anything. We're very happy to sponsor the breakfast again. I hope you all enjoy it, and it's really great to see everybody in person.
Thank you, John. And John, I'm not sure if you saw behind us, the screen for the presentations later from our elected officials are a little high. It's a little higher than usual. We wanted everyone in the room to be able to see. Do you see the engineering job we did here? What do you give that? That's pretty good, right? Quality. Quality. Fallible. Thank you, John, and thank you, Barton and LaJudas, for your sponsorship. Next up is another valuable sponsor of today's program, one who actually sponsored it even during the pandemic when we held this program virtually last year, and I'm proud to say Brian Gladwin, Vice President, Senior Commercial Banking Relationship Manager with Nbt Bank. This year we won't have to say, "You're on mute." Come on up.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Brian.
Good morning, everyone. As Joel mentioned, I'm Brian Gladwin, Senior Commercial Banking Relationship Manager with Nbt Bank in our commercial lending division. I've lived in Plattsburgh since the early 1990s. I'm very proud to call this community home, considering it a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. Nbt Bank is pleased to be a sponsor of today's State of the County, City, and Town event. Thank you, Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce, for this opportunity. Nbt Bank is a full-service community bank with 140 banking locations in New York State, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, and Connecticut, offering a host of products and services ranging from commercial banking to consumer banking to digital banking to government banking to insurance to wealth management. Like the leaders here today, NBT is committed to the communities we serve. NBT has been in business for over 150 years, and NBT Bank Corp stock is traded on NASDAQ under the symbol NBTB. Since I arrived in Plattsburgh, this community has grown in an incredible way while facing tremendous challenges. I'm sure I'm missing a few of them, but I'll just name a couple. Closing of the Air Force Base, financial crisis, and in the current day, and over the last few years, a pandemic, and its related impact on our community and on another community that is critical to us and to our future, that being our friends up north in Canada. Although today's event focuses on the state of Clinton County, the city of Plattsburgh, and the town of Plattsburgh, I would be remiss if I did not mention the critical role that the Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce team plays and has with helping us address challenges and drive opportunities for our community. On a county, city, and town level, we are the beneficiaries of the leadership and direction provided by our local government officials. Whether we are dealing with challenges or opportunities, leadership has never been more important, and we should consider ourselves very fortunate that we have stable and effective local government that cares about our community and is focused on providing us with a successful and positive future. We look forward to hearing from our elected officials and would be very pleased to be a sponsor of this event. Thank you for the time this morning. Enjoy the program. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to Brian and everyone from Nbt Bank. And last but certainly not least, we have the first time ever sponsoring this event, and hopefully the first of many, Zachary Lattenville, principal broker and owner of the Z Group. Zach?
Good morning, everybody. We've heard the same thing. It's just good to see everybody's faces again and be collected, I guess, in one room. My name is Zach Lattenville. I am the principal broker, as Joel said, of the Z Group here in Plattsburgh. We've been in business for about 5 years, so we're a proud member of the chamber and to have the opportunity to sponsor this event. It's great to have local leaders line up, be able to speak freely and openly about where the future is for this community, and I'll keep it brief. We're proud to be here. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Zach. And now I'll turn it back over to Gary.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you again to our sponsors. I want to go off script a bit, always a little dangerous. But I want to have us all recognize somebody today and take this opportunity when there's so many of us gathered. Our very, very good friend Greg Hart from the Workforce Development Institute, who has let us know he's retiring in the next coming weeks. He's been a fantastic partner in workforce development and economic development. Thank you, Greg, for all of your friendship, your leadership, and your partnership, and best wishes and everything that comes next. I also want to recognize one other guest who's with us. When you've been around 30 years, you get to know a lot of people. And sometimes you don't see them for a long time, but eventually the circle comes around, and lo and behold, you end up crossing paths again. We're very pleased to have with us this morning Carl Andrews, former state senator from Brooklyn, former deputy to former Governor David Patterson, who I first met in the first week on the job with the governor. You won't be surprised at that. I got in there and got a meeting with him real fast. I know what I was doing. And we talked about Quebec, New York, and that being part of the intergovernmental relations that were important to the state of New York. And he helped us actually start the organization of the last Quebec, New York Summit, which we did in Montreal about 12, 13 years ago with Governor Patterson and Jean Charest. Carl, happy to have you with us. Now we're going to turn to the three presentations, and we're just going to stay the traditional order, which is no indication of who is more important than the others. Perhaps we should do a drawing every year. But we're going to start with the biggest government, the county government, and happy to have Mark Henry here to present the state of Clinton County, which we know is very strong.
Yeah. I thought we did go in order of importance. That's not true. Oh, I had a burning question yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Wordle. Did anybody else get rupee? I mean, geez, come on. They're getting too hard. I got to quit. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. It's indeed a pleasure this morning to be representing the Clinton County Legislature as I present to you our annual State of the County. And as everybody else has said, it is doubly nice for everybody to be here, to see everybody in the same room. It sends a good message, I think, to everyone. So I'm glad you're all here. Before I dive into my main points, I would like to thank Gary and the North Country Chamber of Commerce for once again hosting this important and informative event. There are few, if any, organizations that are more important to our area than the North Country Chamber of Commerce. Their reach, their influence, their accomplishments are world class. I've enjoyed working with Gary on many projects, and I'm always impressed with his insight and willingness to help in any way that he and the Chamber can. I do not believe there is a Chamber of Commerce anywhere that is more focused or better prepared to help ensure our success as we move onward and upward. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I would encourage anyone who can to join this great organization. As mentioned earlier, joining me today are some of my colleagues from the legislature. We have Legislator Perrier, Legislator Pizzaio. Who don't I see over there? I have Jackie Kelleher with us. Welcome all. Did I miss any other legislators? Get everybody? I always hate doing that. We have a great legislature, and I'm proud to be a part of it. With us also is our County Administrator, Mike Zerlo. I'm Mark Henry. That's Mike Zerlo. And our Deputy County Administrator, Kim Kinblom. We're fortunate to have two outstanding people like that overseeing every aspect of Clinton County's operations. I had a professor in college who used to tell us that when public speaking, you need to tell your audience what you're going to say, then say it, and at the end of your remarks, remind them of what you just told them. So as a tip of the hat to the professor, today we are going to look at budgets, borders, business, and buildings, and try very hard not to be boring. We are not going to look at slides. I have none. Well, that's not exactly true. I have one, that one, the Great Seal of Clinton County. I will be up here without a net, surviving solely on my rapier-like wit, my boyish charm. Those coupled together with my seemingly broad knowledge of the subjects at hand should hold you in rapt attention. Don't let me down. In the early days of the pandemic, Clinton County made some tough decisions that were designed to lead us through the pandemic, while at the same time allowing us to be in as strong a position as possible when things improved.
These early decisive actions taken by the legislature, as outlined by our county administrator, and with critical input from our department heads and our employees, have served us well. Further, we had assistance from our federal and state governments that helped us navigate through these rough seas. Based on all of this, we believe that even with future economic challenges, Clinton County is well positioned to move forward into the future with confidence. We know, too, that this did not happen solely because of the actions of Clinton County. And this is another reason why I am so confident and optimistic about the coming year. You, the people and businesses of this region, our many partners in government and the private sector, are why we are able to move forward, strongly confident and optimistic in what we can and will accomplish. True to your roots, you persevered, you built, you worked, and you succeeded throughout these very trying times. After seeing all that you have done, I have no reason to doubt your commitment going forward. Clinton County's 2022 budget reflects our continued desire to provide all residents with the critical services they demand at a price they can afford. Just as important, this budget provides another key metric, stability. Huge swings in tax rates and tax levies are counterproductive to progress and development. The Clinton County Legislature is keenly aware of this. Excuse me. The Clinton County Legislature is keenly aware of this important budget fact. This is demonstrated by the fact that Clinton County's tax rate and tax levy have remained stable over the last 10 years. As an example, the last 5 years, the average tax levy increase was at 0.96%, and the state tax rate has decreased an average of 0.46%. In 2022, both the tax levy and the tax rate decreased. In any endeavor, budget numbers alone are not all there is to setting the stage for success. Having the best people in the right position helps to ensure that we develop and put into motion a first-rate economic development plan, one that works for all. Clinton County did exactly that when we recently hired Molly Ryan to be Clinton County's Industrial Development Agency Executive Director. For those that don't know Molly, and I can't believe there's anybody here that doesn't, she's sitting right over there. Molly is the perfect fit. She excels at building relationships with our economic development partners, such as the Chamber, the TDC, our educational and workforce development institutions. With these strong partners, we will continue to spur economic growth in Clinton County. We will attract new businesses. We will continue to support and retain the businesses that are here. Clinton County is about development. And with Molly's expert help, develop we shall. Economic development must be viewed holistically and should not be measured using only one metric. Economic development must include the recruitment and retention of businesses to the region, but must also include the infrastructure to support these businesses: broadband, affordable housing, childcare, workforce development, educational opportunities, and environmentally responsible planning are important. In this regard, Clinton County secured nearly $400,000 in grants to assist first-time homebuyers and in rental assistance grants. The county, working with Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board, began a broadband study to identify gaps in services. To protect employers, employees, and the public, Clinton County has distributed thousands of test kits and masks to municipalities, congregate settings, businesses, the general public, and our most vulnerable population. Our health department has completed 18,000 vaccinations. Most excitingly, the county has spent many long hours and numerous meetings working with our many partners, again at the Chamber, the IDA, the TDC, the federal government, and the town of Plattsburgh, to bring to fruition not one, but 2 major development projects. As a classic public-private partnership, these numerous county initiatives have secured $3.3 million in funding for these transformative projects. We received $2 million in federal funding. The county provided $500,000. The town of Plattsburgh provided $250,000. And we received over $500,000 in private investment. For a couple of years now, you have heard us speak about much-needed infrastructure at the former county airport, primarily a road, in order to spur development there. And here we are today. The bid documents for this road and the infrastructure will not be on the street until the end of the month, and we already have 2 large development projects in the pipeline. This project has already exceeded our expectations, and further, the project is designed for further development. We are set to break ground in the spring or summer, with developers and engineers firmly committed to completing these 2 large-scale projects. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the engineering firm of Barton and LaJudas is a valued partner in this development as well. Coincidentally, as you have seen, the firm is not only represented here today, but is also a sponsor of this event. Thank you very much, John. We look forward to working with you and Barton and LaJudas. Developments of this scale will have far-reaching effects on the economy of the region and our ability to keep and attract a well-trained workforce, but we cannot be satisfied with just that. There are several areas going forward that need to be addressed. I don't think anyone here will be surprised to hear them mentioned. We need the border fully open, and we need it now. We are always striving to ensure the airport is fully functional and operating at peak capacity. The runway has been repaved, and we are ready to meet this summer head-on. Our new FBO is on board and ready to help us achieve that goal. Obviously, the border being open will play a huge role in the success of the airport. In today's paper, there was a very good article on a new air service plan with possible flights to Philadelphia. We hope that in the very near future, we will be able to announce our new air service plan. There are still some details to be worked out, but we are very excited about this new route and development. I think I slipped my paper. We call for the end of intercepting local sales taxes for the state's distressed hospital fund. This initiative was done during the pandemic as a means to help struggling hospitals. However, none of this money was ever dispensed. Essentially, New York State redirected sales tax money that would have been dispensed to all Clinton County municipalities. We believe that these funds should be returned to the county. Right-of-way fees for all funded broadband projects need to be waived. They do nothing but increase the cost of broadband for all. We need funding restored for local tourism promotion. Tourism and economic development go hand in hand. Statistically speaking, individuals don't relocate to a place that they have never visited. They visit, they enjoy, and they see themselves in that location. With the restoration of tourism funding, Clinton County feels confident that with the work the Chamber has done, with their Adirondack Coast campaign, people will not just come to visit, they will return to live, to work, and play. We will work tirelessly on these and other issues with the assistance of our other local officials and with our great partners at the New York State Association of Counties. We have spoken here today about the state of Clinton County. We are stable, we are optimistic, and we are confident in our future for many reasons. The county is in an excellent financial position to provide the critical services that our residents demand and deserve. We have a budget that meets our needs and provides stability that residents and businesses can count on. We will soon be building infrastructure to support exciting new projects. Our airport has been improved. We have a new FBO ready to meet any demands. We are close to achieving a new air service route. We are confident that soon the U.S.-Canadian border will reopen and our Canadian friends and neighbors will be able to join us again on a regular basis. Once again, cross-border trade and travel will soon become more normalized. We have maintained strong ties with our local organizations, our state and federal representatives, and other business communities. All of this will work in synergy to strengthen our ability to assist businesses to grow, for our area to prosper, so that we can attract new people, so that our residents can find good jobs here, so that they may stay, raise a family, send them to good schools, watch their children and grandchildren grow and prosper, and all the while enjoying the great natural beauty of our area. Thank you for your attention, and thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Michael. I had put an extra table up here so our next guest could bring his mace of office and set it in front of him, but he didn't bring it with him. The mayor of the city of Plattsburgh, Chris Rosenquist, for the state of the city.
I'm actually getting along with the council, so I didn't need to bring the mace. Bring it next time. I'm told that this thing works. Scan the QR code, connect up with me. That's all my social stuff in my link tree. I am on TikTok. We'll work on that later. All right. It's great to be here, and really, quite honestly, a privilege to be here. My name is Christopher Rosenquist. I'm the 29th mayor of the city of Plattsburgh. Hi, Betsy. And it's great to be here with friends as well. Mike Cashman, of course, Trevor Colsey back there, all the folks from Bartley and Judas. So it is nice to be surrounded by friends. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge some of my enemies as well. Mike Zerlo, hello. Matt Boyer, hi. How are you doing? Hope you're well. But here I am, State of the City. Just like we did last year, 21 recap. Just recapping last year. What did we do last year? We're talking about quality of life projects, economic development, and some of our infrastructure investments. I got to step back. Thanks for the sponsors, and thanks, Gary, so that get that covered too, right? How did we do last year? A lot of planning, right? A lot of work in economic development. We finally started our harbor side. If you look at the local waterfront revitalization program, it names our harbor side or Dock Street Landing one of the most valued piece of property in the city of Plattsburgh. This year, we've tucked into starting this plan to develop that area to major development sites. We have spoken to and continue to speak to interested developers in that site, but also understanding that part of that site hosts our wastewater treatment system. The wastewater treatment system is one of the major revenue-generating facilities that we have in the city of Plattsburgh. I actually give tours of that facility too. It's one of my favorite spots in the city of Plattsburgh. We put money into our city beach. If you hadn't been out to the city beach in quite some time, we were able to tear down some buildings, fix the parking lot, fix the bathhouses, spruce it up a little bit, right? We had full staff out there, and we had full vendors out in those buildings, so it was nice to have as not only just as a tourism opportunity, but also an opportunity for us, right? It's our city beach. Invest in it, right? And then finally, our comprehensive master plan that we just wrapped up, we put the last draft of that comprehensive master plan out to the advisory committee for review. The last time we did a comprehensive master plan was in 1999, my 6th year at SUNY Plattsburgh. Right, so it's about time, okay? Where did our money go? Where did we invest in last year? $40 million into water systems, both in sourcing and in treating. $20 million in sourcing, $20 million in treating. $3.6 million in our road infrastructure. Improved roadways, improved pedestrian safety, improved our sidewalks. We spent a significant amount of money securing our internal IT infrastructure. Dated, homegrown, for a municipality of our size, we needed to take a step back We moved our email system to the cloud for more security. We upgraded our security, our firewall, and our switch infrastructure to just provide that safety and security that a lot of people are expecting from municipalities, especially as we start to see systems get hacked. And then the amount of money that we did invest in our waterfront. And then not just the beach. I think a lot of the times when you talk about the city of Plattsburgh and you talk about the waterfront, it's like, oh, the city beach. But no, let's talk about Sailors Beach, Sailors Point Park, downtown, right? That's all part of that. That's all part of our waterfront. Saranac River. Saranac River is part of the Harborside Master Plan, and we're looking at opportunities to develop the Saranac River for tourism and more attraction. Some of the quality of life projects, we finished the Saranac River Trail Phase 2, which now bridges the flats over to downtown. If you haven't been on that trail, it now connects downtown all the way up to SUNY as a walking trail, biking, multimodal path. It's a fantastic quality of life piece that we'll continue to work on going into this year. So 2022, what are we looking at? Progress. Right, we've got to take on a more progressive Plattsburgh. What does that look like? We got to talk, first. Let's talk about the financial situation. The city of Plattsburgh is in a fantastic financial situation. The whole notion of this doom and gloom financial position is we got to turn the page on that. We've got 24% of our general fund, which is 24% of our entire budget is now saved in our general fund. We have a general fund balance of about $6 million. $1 million we added at the end of this year. At the end of last year. For the first time, our taxable value has broken $1 billion. That's taxable value. The total tax value is about 1.5 in the city. And so obviously, as you know, we get the hospital, friends from SUNY Plattsburgh, I saw you here earlier, right? So those are non-taxable, but at the end of the day, we have over a $1 billion taxable value in the city of Plattsburgh. Housing, as you all know, housing is a concern, a major concern. Not just like, hey, it's a problem brewing. It's a problem that's been brewing over the last 10 years that has gone unaddressed. Now it's time for the city of Plattsburgh to step up and create a more progressive policy for housing and securing housing, not only just for landlords, but also for residents to ensure that we have the necessary housing for job growth, right, and for personal satisfaction. Recreation and quality of life. A few years back, we got rid of our rec department. So now what do we do, right? We have lots of parks, we have lots of green space, and we'll talk about investing in those. And then obviously community engagements. How many people came to the 4th of July parade? Yeah, y'all can raise your hands now. Yeah. Y'all didn't come to the 4th of July parade? Battle of Plattsburgh? You come to the Battle of Plattsburgh? Okay, we got to work on that, all right? But again, 2022 looks at a number of, who came to the bonfire at the beach? A couple folks, yeah. See the younger folks do that. Y'all got to catch up. So what's that look like? I'm asking this council to invest $1.5 million into our parks and green spaces. That's a lot of money, $1.5 million into the city of Plattsburgh's parks and green space. We got 4 central parks, 4 major parks. We've got lots of trails, multimodal trails, and that does not include the bike plan, the bike path plan that we created last year. That's separate from that. But a $1.5 million investment into our parks and green space goes a very long way for impacting quality of life, being a more attractive community, and being a community where job creators want their people to live. I'm asking this council to also invest $2 million into municipal broadband. Why does the city of Plattsburgh need municipal broadband? It's more for the city's security than anything else, but then that expands the city's opportunity to provide free Wi-Fi citywide for people who cannot afford Wi-Fi. They cannot afford internet connection at home. They got to go to the library. So it expands and it opens that door and that capacity for the city to be able to provide that level of service. And then finally, $250,000 back into our zoning and planning. Our zoning codes haven't changed in 2 decades. So if you want to know why people are afraid to come and develop in the city of Plattsburgh, that is why. Zoning and planning codes are so outdated that it's more of a deterrent to come and invest and do infill development in the city. And we have developable property. This whole notion that you're landlocked and we can't develop anything, that's nonsense. We've got plenty of property to develop. It's a little bit harder. It's infill development, but it's there. Now our zoning codes need to match that, and our comprehensive plan actually outlines that. More public events. If you're not following us on social, please do, because there's a number of more public events. And it goes beyond just the major events like the 4th of July, Mayor's Cup, Battle of Plattsburgh. There's a lot of social events, a lot of events focused on the arts. Again, more of an opportunity to expand that recreation, expand community engagement to make Plattsburgh a bit more attractive. We are gonna double down on our housing laws. We have to. We had a housing committee report that came out. You can download that from my Facebook. You can download that from the city's website. But it's important for us to understand the serious concerns that we have for housing. And they are serious. We're about 10 years behind, and we ain't catching up unless we do something drastic. And then finally, we've got, last year, with the help of the council, we were able to negotiate the AFSCME's union contract. We've got IBEW's union coming up. We've got the police union under negotiation. Then we have the fire union coming up this year as well. I'm a big supporter of working families. Not only that, but as we start to see the level of workforce competition, the city is not immune to that. The city is not immune to getting our most talented people pinched. And they are getting pinched, just like y'all's most talented people are getting pinched. So the city of Plattsburgh has also got to step up and create a more attractive and competitive working environment. I actually skipped my last slide, but again, it's just such a privilege to be here, and this means nothing without community. Everything that you and I are doing here, if I can speak to you not as the mayor, but as a partner, as somebody who lives and who grew up in this community, you and I being here makes a difference. Your partnership with me and my partnership with you makes a difference. And it is just such a profound privilege to stand up here as the mayor of Plattsburgh to say, I am your partner and I am your friend. So I appreciate you, thank you, I love you, and I'll give it over to Cashman.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, next up is the supervisor of Uptown Plattsburgh, otherwise known as the Town of Plattsburgh, Michael Cashman.
When I first got into the position of town supervisor, no one told me the number of god-awful hour events of 7:30 that the chamber was going to host. So I cannot tell you quite yet the state of the town, but the state of this town supervisor is tired. Okay, so I come with coffee. Also, my slides are similar to this town supervisor, and they may lag a little bit because they are rather large, so I appreciate your patience a little bit. I've said this a number of times through the global pandemic. Our region simply would not be in the position that we are right now without the Chamber of Commerce. End stop. They simply are the gold standard of our ability to move forward successfully through partnership. So can you just give a round of applause to the entire Chamber of Commerce team? Every single day, from the daily dose to the advocacy, our chamber was there in partnership. So thank you, Gary, to you and your team. Also, thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to our municipal partners. And today, I want to take it's really nice that you ended where you did, Chris, because I really want to kind of start mine in a similar way, and that is to kind of capture this concept of community. Last year, we had a number of kind of highlights that really celebrated the best of what it means to be in the spirit of community. We codified the Plattsburgh Compact, right? Chris and I, many of you may not know, basically have a weekly meeting every Wednesday. We stay in constant contact. That has become one of my weekly highlights. We expanded the SRTG by 2 miles. I don't know if any of you have been on that trail, but it's been a lovely addition. We also celebrated with the city their expansion. Another example is sometimes you fall down, but it's your community that pulls you back up. We installed this Lures and Legend marker celebrating Champy. It was stolen. Son of a... Anyways. And it was stolen, but we decided to do a t-shirt fundraiser, and it was the Clinton County Historical Association that stepped up in partnership with us, and now we're able to reinstall that marker later on this year. So it's just people leaning in and participating. I also had the great privilege of inducting Dorothy LeClaire, who's a World War II veteran Army nurse and one of our hometown heroes, into what we call the Centurion Club. And these are the individuals that carry our community through their storytelling. Also, our Planning and Community Development Department launched a great initiative last year called the Top Dog, Town of Plattsburgh Top Dog. And month of March, same thing, so thanks to our Planning and Community Development Department. But they also launched Michigan Month in July, and we are already working on Michigan Month for this year. So get ready for your passports, get your bibs out so you can really get, into them.
Carl was wondering what a Michigan is.
We'll have to talk afterwards. We will definitely induct you into the club.
We took Carl Hasty to a Michigan place and he loved them.
The thing about Michigan Month is, it's not going to happen this year, but my dream is that we eventually develop a Michigan festival. So it's one of the icons of our region. It's something that we can really, get around. I'm from the Cape originally, as many of you know. Many people have clam bakes and seafood fest. Let's have a Michigan fest in the near future. So that just gives you a sense of the type of community that we're at. But like the other municipalities, we have been hyper-focused on investments in our infrastructure. We continue to invest in our water capital plan. Towards the end of last year, we started a new wellhead, which is going to be located at May Courier, over 800 gallons per minute. The town of Plattsburgh is a regional water supplier for parts of Beekmantown and parts of Schuyler Fall. And then the famous street light at Ampersand and Ruger, that project got started even though it was shelved originally because of COVID. And the only thing that we're waiting on now is the traffic light head itself, and that's because of supply chain. So that will be coming in the very, very near future, and it will be a great addition. Town of Plattsburgh is open for business. And, even with all of the Zoom calls and all of the, extra work that we've had to put into getting stuff done, we've remained open. And, from our codes department, our planning department, and all the other ones, I have the privilege to stand here to give you the report of the state of the town, but it was the teamwork of the men and women at the town hall every single day that leaned in to make sure to get the job done. So as a result of that, we continue to see investment and reinvestment in the town of Plattsburgh year after year after year. And it's very exciting. These are just some of the businesses that decided to invest and reinvest. But this is the real slide that I want to share with you because I think it tells a really strong story. 477 building permits last year, slightly lower than the year before, over 200,000 square feet of new to the town, and 35 million value added to the town of Plattsburgh. I mean, it's incredible. We're talking about during times of a global pandemic. And at some portions of the year, remember the lumber costs? People were still leaning in saying, no, Plattsburgh is the place that we want to do business. We want to be here, we want to invest here, we want to build here. The town of Plattsburgh also adopted our Elevate Plattsburgh Town Center Smart Growth Plan. This plan was heavily influenced, and many of you may have participated in this, in forums, in workshops, one-on-one discussions. And this section of town right here represents about 2,000 acres. Some interesting facts that I would share with you. There are about 320 businesses in this area, supporting close to 5,000 employees, okay? And almost 30% of those jobs were in retail, 20% in food service, 16% in manufacturing, 11% in healthcare and social assistance, and the remaining 7% in transportation and warehousing. Our smart growth plan allows us to capture or continue to ride the positive trajectory of the future for the next 20 years to define our community the way that we want it to be, so owning our future. So it focuses on infill development, it focuses on the missing middle, and it focuses on increased opportunity for commerce, just to name a few. I know the sun is kind of hard to see here, but this slide is a demonstration of how this smart growth plan is already working, okay? All you have to do is stand in the parking lot of Lenny Shoe and Apparel or over near Hannaford's, and you see these beautiful buildings that are popping up. 5 buildings, 80 units. It's a $24 million investment northwards. There's also a new road that's going in, which is a public benefit. So what the power of this project is, as it relates to our smart growth, is that it fits within the efforts of the town to really capture an ideally situated location as a live, work, play environment that abuts up to important things such as employment opportunities, healthcare, retail, and recreation. We want to see more mixed-use development in the town center. So again, the light is a little bit here, but if you go and you see our full plan, you will note that the town of Plattsburgh has many opportunities throughout every corner of the town. Cumberland Corners, for example, is another location that we continue to work on. I'm just using this as an example. I don't want people to walk away and say, oh, they're only focused on the town center. But the town center smart growth plan has identified sections within it, and we are going to be developing a developer's guidebook that helps to move things forward in a way that kind of cuts through the confusion. And I want to thank the Clinton County Board of Realtors for their ongoing partnership over the last couple of years as we continue to identify opportunities and paths forwards with grants. So this captures some of the energy of the chairman's remarks too. In 2016, I had just become town supervisor, and I had the opportunity to tap on the shoulders of the county and the TDC and say, we're going to advance an infrastructure study at the Old County Airport. And this will be the last time I refer to the Old County Airport. It's not an airport, hasn't been an airport for a long time. Our placeholder for now, and it may change, is Mountain View, okay? We are looking to the mountain, and we are climbing upwards. There is lots of opportunities here. But that infrastructure study resulted in the opportunity to build a road. We knew that we couldn't stop there, though, because, as you'll see in the next slide, that there was going to be some high interest. So we worked in partnership with the Clinton County Board of Realtors and the CCCRC, working with Molly and some other colleagues over the years. We also wanted to adopt a smart growth plan for Mountain View. And already, what's interesting from here is we are starting to see opportunities come about that the chairman talked about. So one that's already in the pipeline is a 285,000 square foot new facility on that property, okay? The plans are in the town of Plattsburgh. They've already gotten the stamp of approval. So we're very, very much looking forward to that taking root later on in the year. So what does it mean, though, moving forward? It means that with our smart growth, we have to think more than just more industrial. Industrial is critical, but as you've heard from all the speakers so far, housing is just as important. So our smart growth plan is going to capture the need and the energy to make sure that this is a mixed-use space. There's over 600 acres on this property, and some of the most magnificent views anywhere in the North Country from there. It also abuts the Saranac River Trail. Many of you acknowledged that you enjoyed being on the Saranac River Trail expansions. Imagine that coming up through the back end there as well. So, TDC, Monahan Medical, all have defined that as an opportunity for investment, and we know that we need to build on that energy, but we also need to think larger and more boldly so that we can make sure that we have a little bit of everything. The Battlefield Memorial Gateway Project, which is a public-private partnership between the American Legion and the town of Plattsburgh, continues to advance. We received over $900,000 in a CFA funding towards the first initial stage. That is $1.2 million. We're hoping to get that kicked off as early as July of this year. And we're also working on additional infrastructure in another corridor of the town, and that's off of New York Road. This is a shared corridor between the town and the city. We want to focus on building up old infrastructure because this is the old base, right? We need to really kind of put some investment here. But we received a $390,000 Climate Smart Communities grant. We're going to do a road diet, we're going to do some beautification, and we're also going to make sure that we're doing it in concert with our partners in the city so that it has a look and feel that benefits both communities. We are also very excited to announce that the town of Plattsburgh tonight is going to adopt a resolution that will put us in partnership with the New York State Power Authority. The reason that this is important is the town of Plattsburgh a number of years ago became the first NYSERDA community designated as a clean energy community. This does a number of things. One is it continues to put us on the path to a more sustainable future, but it also allows us to provide a better product and service to taxpayers, residents, and visitors because NYPA will be part of an ongoing maintenance program that will be taking care of these lights as well. And then finally, as far as programs, we're very excited. We're hoping by the end of today or by the end of the week, we are launching a brand new dynamic website. This website will be focused on continuing to roll out new features that will increase public engagement with taxpayers as well as visitors and developers alike. Because we know that if you are not online and in someone's phone, you basically don't exist. And now is the time for us to reinvest in our web presence as well. So finally, the town has planned, we have partnered, and we have positioned ourselves to continue to elevate Plattsburgh in 2022 and beyond. But most importantly, you know, the state of the town is strong, and it is strong because of you, and we look forward to continuing to partner with you. Thank you.
Potential names for the old Clinton County Airport. I know another suggestion floating around the community is Michael Flats. I don't know if that's Michael Cashman or Michael Zerlo. I'm not quite sure about that. I guess I could cover both. At this point, I'm going to ask our three leaders to come up here, and we'll take questions. Please keep your question as succinct as possible, so we'll have time maybe for a couple more. State who you are and what business or organization you're with and who you're directing your question to. And I'll try to get around the room and get as many questions in as I can within the time we have left. And I'll start over here. Look for a hand up. Who wants to get us started? Someone wants to get us started here. Come on. Okay, right here.
My name is Chris Jones. I work for my own company called Chris Jones Media. Graduated from Beekmantown a while ago. Grew up in Plattsburgh. Don't live here now, but I came up here just to hear this. I follow Michael on LinkedIn. I would love to invite all three. I do a podcast, a business type of podcast, entrepreneurial thing. Would love to have any one of the three of you on it at some point.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Count me in.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that was an easy one.
Yeah, that was.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Darlene.
Hey.
County Health Department. My question's for Chris.
Yeah.
When you mentioned about housing,
Yes.
the housing laws,
Yeah, so, a lot of what we do at NICOM, the New York Conference of Mayors, is advocate for stronger housing laws. One thing that the city is going to continue to look at is a good cause eviction law. We do need to update our zoning and planning to ensure that anybody that is coming into the city of Plattsburgh that wants to develop housing, it's an easier pathway for them to develop housing. There's a vacant property permit, if you will. I don't have any other word for it, but that's something that we're also tracking at the state level that we could consider adopting locally as well. But, as most of us know who are wanting to employ people, it's one thing to offer them a good job, but to find them a housing is very, very challenging. Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you. Oh, folks. All right, stay over on this side of the room. All the questions are on this side of the room.
Where all the smart people are, Gary. Just kidding, guys.
That's a challenge to this side. Come up with a few questions.
Betsy Vicencio, the Northeast Group. Gentlemen, always a pleasure to see you. First off, thank you so much for the reduction in my very large tax bill. First time in 17 years that my tax bill went down. So to Mark Henry and Mr. Cashman, thank you for that. That was a great pleasure. My ask of all of you as legislators and probably as a community, we do an awful lot to celebrate new business that comes into our region. We work to promote and create incentives to bring them. There are a whole bunch of us that have been here for some time, and we're getting our asses handed to us a little bit between workforce and so is there something on your horizon that you see that really helps to help maybe reinvest in us or celebrate and promote existing business that's here?
Who wants to start?
That's pretty easy.
Betsy, you and I, as well as Mike, have talked about this for a couple different times in little pockets where it's always great to get the new shiny thing, right? It's how progress continues. You need to bring more things into the fold. But we also need to make sure that we're taking the time to celebrate and acknowledge the folks that have been here, that continue to reinvest. That's why I put that slide up every time. We need to find more opportunities through partnership, through conversation. So my commitment will continue to be, let's have those conversations. The lowest level of government often does not have the same resources to do the grants and so on and so forth. That's really state and federal opportunities. But my commitment is to let's have some conversations. MHAB, for example, while it's only a small entity of what you folks do, I tell everybody any opportunity that I have, that is probably one of the crown jewels of recovery in New York State, if not the Northeast. So.
I really don't have much more to add than what Michael said. I agree with what Mike said. We have resources, we have the partnerships that we talked about earlier. It is a conversation piece, obviously. We have talked about things like this. We will continue to do so, and we'll move forward, and hopefully we can improve on it. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, anything? Or?
Yeah. Well, I'm a local business owner. I've been in local business for since I moved home. Appreciate my man over here, Zach, because we share that space, and we don't get ribbon cuttings every year for saying congratulations, you're open for another year. So I understand. Part of it is what do you need, right? Like it's one thing to say, hey, I need something, or what do we get? But the other part of it is having that conversation about what do you actually need. Like Cashman said, there's very few resources that we have other than highlighting you as a business or promoting you locally, or when new friends come to town and be like, hey, by the way, you need to network with these people and these people to help boost your business or boost people's businesses in the room. So short of that, one thing that we don't have, which my office in partnership with Courtney Meisenheimer, we've been trying to create, is a Plattsburgh business consortium. We've got landlord groups, we've got concerned citizens, but we don't have a consortium of business owners that are saying, hey, this is how we as business owners need to partner with you, City of Plattsburgh, right? So if you are in a City of Plattsburgh business, just come and talk to us, because we want that level of partnership, and there's strength in numbers, right? So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, in the back. Finally got somebody in the middle.
This really impacts all three. The Route 3 corridor is the busiest corridor in our entire region. It's over 30,000 trips a day. It's a gateway to our region, but it's also the main line of connection between the town and the city. It's also probably the single greatest sales tax revenue generator for the county. Could you folks kind of speak about any attempts or a shared approach to treat the Route 3 corridor and how it connects with each other and affects all communities?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as the gateway to, what I will say is, in all honesty, no, seriously, there's
really,
two things. It's identified in the Plattsburgh Compact, first of all, okay, a shared document between our two municipalities. The town of Plattsburgh applied for a DRI. Unfortunately, we did not get it. But we continue.
That was not our fault, by the way.
No, no.
Had nothing to do with Plattsburgh being on the name of the thing, or this is not our fault.
But we continue to be in conversations about how we can activate that through proper planning and implementation and partnership. But it's going to take investment. And, you know, we want to be able to have people be in a hotel, for instance, and jump on their bike and go into the city of Plattsburgh to grab a cup of coffee at this great place.
Dunkin' Donuts.
I was going to say Coffee Cat. But, you know, those intertwining things are still things that we need to work on, but it's going to take us in partnerships for grants. It can't just be individual municipalities at this point.
And that's spot on, and that's part of the reason why we built that into the Plattsburgh Compact, because we know, just like we're talking about New York Road, in partnership with New York Road, there are these shared gray areas or these shared spaces that the city and town, that a lot of us don't even understand where that line is, that needs to look the same. It needs to be congruent. It needs to have the same look and feel. We have the PSAP grant, the Pedestrian Safety Action Plan grant, to reconfigure what we call the Triangle of Death, the Cornelius Broad Street intersection where Stewart's is. So we've got monies that are being invested into reconfiguring that intersection for safety. But then we also just invested another $87,000 to do a survey of Route 3 between that intersection up to the town line, so that we can then start that conversation for what does this shared space look like.
And to put in perspective, I know a lot of people often get frustrated, you know, with traffic, particularly in our region, because we enjoy being in the North Country. It's easy to get places. 30,000, trips a day puts us on par or busier than Wolf Road in Albany, folks. We are not a slumbering little community here in the North Country. This is why we need to invest in this type of infrastructure, so that we continue to own our future. Because when people get places, they want to be able to walk to a restaurant. They want to be able to walk to places to shop. They want to get on a bike and be able to get down to, the city of Plattsburgh, or go to the beach and stuff like that. So these are critical investments. They're not just, warm, fuzzy, feel-good types of things. It's the expectations of residents and visitors alike.
And when you talk about what can we do for our local businesses, we can make our infrastructure more accessible so that it is safer to reach your business. It looks nicer to reach your business. And in terms of the economic impact of that area, that's probably our first largest economic hub in the city of Plattsburgh. Probably greater than our downtown, right? Even though we've got chain restaurants, we've got shopping, we've got local restaurants in that area as well. But again, how do you have to get there? You've got to drive. God forbid you're taking your life in your own hands if you walk. And please don't bike on that road, right? Like, unless you really are up for the challenge. But that's what this is about. It is about creating that shared roadway, but stepping it up so that it's a lot more accessible and what people have come to expect.
Let me remark for everybody, because you start to take things for granted sometimes. That remarkable show of collaboration we just saw between the town and the city. And the conversation, the partnership, the common purpose. Let's applaud that. It wasn't that long ago we were time for another question or two, if we have them over on this side, yes.
Will the Create Center ever,
No, we'll stop there. All right.
No, Chris, so we have no more time for questions.
Thanks. No, okay, look, day one, I said we're gonna tear it down, okay? And I say it tongue in cheek, but that's where we're at with that. And look, I'm sorry, it's a sacred cow for us, and I know that. I know it's such a sensitive topic. I know it's such an important thing for us. It's one of those things that if it were on a city seal, that, oh my goodness, it would be on the top thing that we would put on our branding and marketing. But it is old. It's too old. 2016, when we did the waterfront feasibility study, in 2016, they said it was $4 million to repair, or $1 million to tear down. That plan also called for a return to open recreation space at the beach, right? Now, we also are very sensitive to the need for recreational opportunities, of course, which is why I'm asking the council to invest $1.5 million into our parks and green space, which will include investments into our recreational facilities, the ones that we have that we can provide outdoors. I understand it's not an easy conversation to have, especially with that facility, but it's got to come down. It's got to come down. There's no other way to say it, right?
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Got time for one more question if there is one. Yes, Alex.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Alex Berry with CDC Real Estate. I'm going to switch hats, though. I'm a mom of 2 young kids. I'm just curious what, if anything, the municipalities have looked into to help with the child care crisis as well, which I know affects a lot of local businesses.
No,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go.
Look, I've got a bit of a bone to pick about, especially about the child care thing, because when you get the people in the room that are trying to solve the problem, it's, people like Sylvie Nelson from Workforce Development. I know, I see you, just a shout out. It's people that, from the Child Care Council, and it's people like us, right? Like, that are sitting in the room trying to figure out, well, how do we get more resources to these people? But who's not in the room are the businesses that keep complaining about, we don't have childcare, we can't support our workforce because we don't have childcare. Where are they? Where's their investment dollars into this? And as we see global companies making millions of dollars in profits and 30% more profits than they made in the last 2 years in the midst of a pandemic, it's time for everybody who has a problem with it to step in. Everybody. Not just the people who have been trying to solve the problem for the last 4 years. That's my problem with it, right? So if you want to know what I'm doing about it, right here, this is the platform I'm on right now. And it's a bit of a soapbox, I understand that, but at the end of the day, if the people who are complaining, hey, we can't hire people because we can't find childcare, well, come into the room and help us solve this problem, because these folks have been trying to solve it for the last 4 years.
I want to provide a different spin for it, and I would agree with much of what Chris had said. One of the things that I've heard from folks a number of times, it's not only getting into childcare, but once you have it, how far away it is from the places that you work. You look at that mountain view, that's why we need mixed use. We need to be able to have locations where childcare can be a stone's throw away, so that you're not spending 20 or 30 or 45 minutes going to pick up your kids or to drop them off, so that you can't be on time, or if the weather's bad, or all the various other things. So mixed use is part of that solution as well. That's our contribution, but we need to continue to partner with various state agencies and private businesses so that we can come up with new models and to have appropriate zoning that can get these spaces in the appropriate location now, truly now.
That problem is magnified if you look at the county. If you have a fairly small area like the city, it may be relatively easier to provide the services that Michael's talking about. If you look at it on a county basis, obviously that's spread out much farther. So you have this travel problem. There are agencies that are working on this. The legislature has talked about this. As I mentioned in my remarks, we provided money for childcare. Most of us are parents. Mine are adult kids, but I have grandchildren. I know, my wife knows, we all know how difficult this is, trying to find a babysitter, trying to find somebody to do that. If you're working shift work like I did for 30 years, it makes it even harder to find somebody that's going to be there at midnight when you're working midnight to 8. So it's a problem. You're right to raise it. Everybody is working on it. It's going to take money. It's going to take commitment. It's going to take, as Chris said, most of the people in this room to get this done. So we're working on it. We are. Thank you.
Please join in thanking our 3 guests for their time. Thank you all for coming. I know we'll see some of you at the 110th annual dinner tomorrow night.
All right.